Hi, Annie Summary here. This is my recap for the anime Remonster. So if you like my recaps, please consider subscribing. The story begins when a girl is continuously stabbing a guy who is already dead. Still, she is stabbing him like lunatic and having solace by eliminating this jerk from the world. His blood is shedding like stream, but she is not stopping even for a second. It's clear that this girl hates the main character Kanata. Also, the guy has no concern with his name, the thing that is popping around his mind by taking his last breath that he is going to die. By thinking about this, he closes his eyes. When again his eyes open, then he look at the old green man whom he think disgusting. Before closing his eyes, this old man gives him the Goblin name accidentally. Also, he can't object because he is unable to speak or move properly. Still, this old man provides him with worms to eat, which this young green child consumes. Second time, when he awakes up, he realizes he has turned into a green child. Instead, he is surrounded by the kids. It means that in his previous life, he was dead, and he was granted a second life as an abominable creature. Just then, he tries to lift up, but how can a recently born baby walk? By watching himself, he has started weeping because the only thing he can do is cry, and he is doing this job amazingly. On the third day, he has grown up enough to walk on. He must praise goblins, who can grow up fast. Also, his heart is jumping with happiness when he hears his voice. After that, he moves his body to show off his fighting skills. At the same time, he has decided to live this life to the fullest. He is the lucky one who is bestowed with a second life, and he doesn't want to waste it. On his fourth day, old man again arrives with their meal. But also, he has brought bad news, in which they have to hunt their own. This is going to be their last meal that he has brought for them. As they need to catch their prey, they have started eating the worms as if they haven't eaten since they were born. To take the bird's eye off the outside, Goblin comes out of the cave. Here he looks at the sun, which is the same as in his previous life. But the plants and animals around this place are totally opposite. To chase him, Goblin arrives. He is a Goblin fellow like others. As he seems stronger than all of the others, he has made it his mind to make him his partner. For prey, they are roaming around the forest. At the same time, they observe the rabbit, who has a horn. Goblin has started chasing the rabbit, who is running away to save his life. Goblin, who is on the tree waiting for his turn, jumps on the earth and cramps the head of the rabbit with a stick. Now, it's their first hunt, and Goblin wants to consume it as soon as possible. But Goblin doesn't permit him to smash the wooden stick many times on his face. How can he forget to share the food? Actually, Goblin taught him his first lesson, to live a life. Also, he has torn apart the horn of the rabbit. In reality, he is going to use this horn as a weapon. Besides, Goblin's mouth is watering from watching the meat of a rabbit. Now, he can't ignore him, and he has allowed him to enjoy the meal. While taking a merciless bite, he is thankful to Goblin. Because of him, he is eligible to have this mouth-watering rabbit. On the fifth day, they are using the same strategy to hunt. This time, Goblin has killed the rabbit by penetrating the horn. Within a few seconds, he sensed that he had obtained the most legendary horn, because it can be used as a weapon. Now, he has two horns that he can use as weapons. By ignoring him, Goblin is satisfying his stomach by eating the lavish rabbit meat. When he tastes the rabbit, he can sense that he has obtained the ability to escape. But how can it happen? It only happens because he still has the ability of his previous life, which is absorption. By availing of it, he can absorb the animal's powers. In this world, all his abilities are going to reset. Now, he has to wait for his prey to jump on him. Rather, he chases the rabbit and penetrates the horn in his body to eliminate it. Observing this, Goblin is stunned at how amazing his personality is. Ignoring him, he offers him a horn to use as a weapon, and he is surprised to think that there are many unexplored animals with abilities. Thinking about this, a smile appears on his face. On his sixth day, he is with his friends. Here, Goblin is shouting after hearing they have already hunted the horned rabbit. She has been inspired by Goblin and praises him. While praising, her cheeks have become red, but she has become obsessed with him. She can imagine the mouth-watering taste of a horned rabbit. Also, Goblin wants to listen to his praise and flattery, but she ignores him. Her center of attention is Goblin. By seeing her excitement, he has given her an offer to join them next morning. Unfortunately, it is raining on the seventh day. He is unable to fulfill his promise. It has to be extended. But he can't waste this day, so he moves to explore the material. By finding them, he can create a deadly weapon. Examining the cave, he has found the material. Not only this, he has found the naked woman. He has no idea what these women are doing, but he has no time to think about them. So, he turns his attention to making a lethal weapon. Before he thinks further, an old man joins him who is inspired by his powers. He knows he can level up quickly and also evolve. But this conversation is beyond his imagination until he knocks on his head. Just then, he has realized his level is 86. To evolve, he needs to raise 100. When he reaches 100, he can evolve into a hobgoblin. But only one can turn into hobgoblin, and he can go to Gobru. Also, this old man reveals that hobgoblin, who has already evolved, is going to come here, and he is shocked at the prey he will bring for them. On the next day, Gobmi also joined them by hitting the creature with her weapon, and Gobro chases the other crawling creature. And last, Gubkichi is on the front, smashing the creature with his wooden weapon. Together, they create an unbeatable team. Just then, they started eating their food. Gobmi is thankful to Gobru because of him, she is eligible to have Thai meat. On the other hand, Gobru can also absorb its many abilities. He now has the venom and evil eye to knock his enemy. He is pleased because this snake has increased his ability. Gubkicho distracts his attention by inquiring about the head of the snake. He desires to have a head of steam, but Gobru doesn't permit him because he can be dead meat by swallowing it. Also, Gobru has made up his mind to survive in this world. Doesn't matter how difficult life can be here. Meanwhile, on the 9th and 10th days, they have made equipment to beat the enemy. On the 11th day, they figure out the cave and decide to explore it, but they have no idea how challenging this cave can be. While stepping in, they confront the red eyes. Soon, they realize that groups of bats want to chew them. Without having a second thought, they rush back. Gobru asks Gobmi to run away and orders Gubchiko to create a shield for him, and he uses evil eyes. Through this attack, everyone has been frozen. By doing so, he can hunt the bats with his weapon. One by one, he is obliterating their breath. After that, they are enjoying their meal. This time, Gobru has gained the Vamp Up ability. A new animal is giving him new abilities. From the distance, 3 goblins are keeping an eye on them. They are getting jealous of him because they are having mouth-watering meals, and they are dying from hunger because they don't know how to hunt. To teach them a lesson, when everyone has slept, they try to beat Gobru, but they have no idea they have messed up with the wrong person. With a few moves, he has compelled them to say sorry. He has knocked 6 goblins, and they are watching at him by holding their breath. At the same time, he uses venomous abilities, but they go wrong because he has no control over them. Gobmi, who has awoke, was pissed when she realized they wanted to kill her Gobru. In wrath, she hops in to kill them. Before she elects them, Gobru holds her and restrains her from pursuing her ulterior motives. Also, he assures her that he is perfectly fine, so she shouldn't beat them up. On the 13th day, they decided to catch Orc. First of all, Gobmi gives him a strong hit with her weapon. After that, Gubkicho tries to overpower him, but he is pushed away. When Gobmi relays, he hit Gubkicho, and then she again threw stones at him. As a result, it has injured his fingers, and he has fallen to the ground. Gobru takes the lead and kills him by penetrating the horns in his body. Later, they started eating. By eating the orc meat, he has learned to detect and analyze. As they are full, Gobru asks them to pack the meal. He has packed the meal for his fellows who don't know about the hunting. By watching their meal, they are about to get mad and start eating like lunatics. They are grateful to Gobru, who has given them hearty food. In his previous life, he didn't bother to think about the weak. But in his new life, he has learned many things and decided to help the needy and weak goblins. While sleeping, something tormented him in his dream. It's an evolving system that wants their permission to evolve. Because he has reached 100 levels, the sleepyhead has granted him permission. Consequently, on the 14th day, his personality changed. He has become hobgoblin and human-likely handsome. Not only Gobru but also Gubkichu have transformed into hobgoblin. Just then, Old Man arrives, and his eyes widen because 2 of them have evolved. It's the first time in his life that he looks at Goblin to evolve in a month. Aside from this, Gubkicho is excited to fight with Gobru. With a smile, he has approved his request. By moving outside, they have started combating. They have remarkably good fighting skills, and Gobru is faster than his imagination. With a few moves, he has knocked down Gubkicho. Lion is always lion, it doesn't matter who he fights with. Secretly, Gobmi is keeping an eye on them, but Gobru, who has a hawk eye, knows about her presence. Also, he has realized that there is impending danger, and he tells Gobmi to bring her crossbow. There is a wolf pack that is hunting the horned rabbit. Within a second, they had consumed them, and their next prey is Orc, which is also not challenging for them. They have shattering the Orc in a blink of an eye. Just then, Gobru is glad because they can test their new powers on them. At the same time, Gobmi attacked one of them with her crossbow, and they also step inside the fight with their weapons. With his wooden weapon, Gubkicho is beating them up, and Gobru is knocking them down with his lethal weapon. In no time, the wolf's dead bodies are laying on the floor, but one of them is angrily watching them. As he is also wounded, he can't stand on his foot any longer, and he falls apart on the ground. Just then, Gobru has realized that he is the leader, and he has decided to prey on him. With his sharp jaw, he has eaten him and gained the ability to order. After consuming, they took all the meat from his pack. They are again pleased to have the meat of a wolf. In exchange, he wants their favor. Also, he is humble and kind enough to teach them hunting. By hearing this, they are glad because they are not going to die from hunger. In addition, he is again doing favors to teach them to make weapons. In this life, his only purpose is to eat, and he can also make friends. Next day, Gobru wakes up. Gobji is worried, watching the sky-high flames in front of him. On day 17th, these women committed suicide by drinking poison and setting themselves on fire. Elder goblins regret their sad demise but can't do anything now. On the day 26th, Gobru trains the goblins of his age regularly, but in spite of improving their skill and stamina, he also ate many valuable enemies that remarkably increased his stamina and power. Gobru struggles to reach the finish post as she is tired of the exhausting exercise. Suddenly, they see someone coming towards them. Gobru gets ready with his sword to fight uninvited intruders. But at the same time, Elder Goblin stops them hastily, as these are not their enemies. They are parent goblins, and as they approach them, Gobru was astonished to see human captives with them. A muscular goblin, Hobkin, is so happy to bring the good stuff to feast on. Gobru looks at the innocent faces of the healthy young girls tied in a rope and feels pity for them. He knows that if goblins interbreed with humans, there is a greater chance that the offspring will be goblins, because their genes dominate most of the time. Gobru walks towards Hobkin and casually asks him to let him keep them. That infuriates Hobkin, and he grabs Gobru from his collar to ask such a foolish question at such a tender age. Elder Goblin immediately comes to stop them. But what surprises him is that all the goblins that Gobru has been training in the past few days draw their swords, and gets ready to stand beside him in case of any conflict. Suddenly, two girls try to calm them down by suggesting a truce between Gobru and Hobkin. They both are the most potent, but she knows that a fight without weapons will decide who is more powerful. Hence, whoever wins from them will lead them from now on. Hobkin is so sure of his muscular body and strength that he immediately accepts the challenge. The fight begins and ends in a couple of moments, because Gobru ties Hobkin in the thread that emerges from his fingers as a part of his body. It's not a weapon but a powerful tool to defeat the opponent. Gobru learned to make spider thread from spider demon, which is quite handy now. He wants Hobkin to disappear now, as according to the agreement, he is the winner and leader now. He now turns towards the numerous goblins standing and asks if they accept him as their leader. Everyone agrees without a complaint, while Hobkin lies on the ground miserably tied to the spider strings. Afterward, he goes to the captive girls and promises them protection and safety. He ensures that they will not be harmed here during their stay. Moreover, he will return them to their village as soon as possible. The human girls are so surprised at the compassionate behavior of a goblin. One of the girls asks what he wants in return for their freedom and for saving their lives. Gobru assures them that he wants nothing. If anything, he would only like to acquire human knowledge. Later, he finds out the details about the women. They went out hunting with a group of men and women, but on the way, goblins found and killed all their men. They saved the 5 women and brought them with them here. The girls tell their story and begin crying miserably. Gobru does not stand there and leave them alone to mourn the loss. The next day is the 28th, and Gobru is surprised to see the girls lookatively fresh now. He comforted them by making the food using the ingredients found in the looted items, but he admits that human food is far superior to goblin food. It refreshed his mind, which is best for a healthy brain. He learns many things from them. Unlike goblins, they grow up and learn many skills, while goblins only evolve in higher-level goblins. Among those 5 girls, one is a blacksmith. 2 girls among them are sisters, and they can cook food well. The other girl, with glasses on her eyes, is a chemist. That leaves the red-haired girl, who looks like a fighter. But under these circumstances, she is useless. On the other hand, the goblins perform challenging exercises and fall after getting dead tired. Gobru gathers them all and makes for the coming days. Unlike their traditional style of living, they will not go on hunting for a few days. He wants them to focus on learning and exercise. Hobkin dislikes it but agrees anyway. On day 31st, they retreat to a cave, and to spare themselves from boredom, Gobru and Gobkichi fight to improve their swordsmanship. But the terrible thing happened that night, as Gobru had expected from goblins. They reach the sleeping human girls and look at them as their prey. At the same time, Gobru grabs and beats the attacking goblins. Then he ties all of them in the spider web emerging from his fingers. This time, he is so angry that goblins attack the girls at night despite his warning. Hobkin was leading the clan, but after tying them, he apologizes to the red-haired girl. But she starts crying and hugs Gobru. At the same time, other goblins arrive there as they want to know what's happened. He orders them to take the offenders outside as he wants to punish them in front of everyone, which will set an example for all. He hangs the Hopkin upside down and ensures everyone follows his rules. That following morning, he found Hibkin dead. On day 32nd, they face a scaly white horse running towards them. Gubkichi and Gobru attack the horse, break its tough scales, and then kill it. But as soon as Gobru eats that horse's flesh, it fills him with immense energy and gives him numerous skills, which includes quick healing and quick proficiency skills. One of the skills is triple thrust, which surprisingly struck the target 3 times when he struck it only once. That is why the Trihorn horse is a strong enemy. Gobru opens his eyes as someone shakes his bed in sleep. He opens his eyes and finds the red-haired girl before him. She silently lies beside him on the bed. Gobru remains silent as he thinks she is afraid of what happened last night. But he opens his eyes on the next day, with both his arms stretched out under the head of the girl and Gobli. Gobru is happy with the training. All the training is divided into different units, and his friends lead each unit. That day, Gobru did not stay with his training unit. After allotting each group, he decided to go into the forest to search for prey. He finds a Trihorn horse and aims at it with the first level magic. It strikes right at the spot and kills the target. Now, Gobru feels more comfortable using magic and keeps walking more profoundly into the forest. After some time, he realized that he had come so far. Suddenly, he watches a blood spot around a track and remembers the lesson of the elder goblin he received in the early days, that he must never walk towards the north of the forest, because that is where the deadly red bear lives. Not much time has passed since he saw the giant, scary red bear standing before him. Its grand size and roar are sufficient to frighten any fragile heart. Anyone other than Gobru would have run away from the forest by now. But he plans to kill and win the fight. He wants to enjoy its flesh. He once again activates the first level demise magic for the fight and throws it toward the red bear. On the other hand, Gobni is worried that Gobru has been away for so long. By that time, he would have returned, but no one had seen him yet. But they hope he will be fine and return to them soon. On the other hand, the bear survives Gobru's magic attack by detaching his arm. Now, it attacks with its claws, but Gobru jumps to strike its body with the sword. But surprisingly, the bear's body is so strong that the blade never made any cut. Now, Gobru wraps the bear in the spider web emerging from his hand. But in a few moments, the bear unties itself and throws a fire at Gobru. It sets the whole area on fire while Gobru hides behind a tree. It's surprising for Gobru that a bear can stand a temperature as high as 2,000 degrees. But now he decides to comfort it no matter what and comes out from behind the tree. He runs towards the red bear after wrapping himself in ice and strikes the sword in the red bear's face. For a moment, he thinks that he has won the fight, but the bear throws him away by its head, and Gobru's body begins bleeding. His previous successful attack has effectively stopped the red bear from emitting fire, as the sword is stuck between its throat. Now, all it can make is noise. Looking at the red bear, Gobru can judge that its energy is at its peak. While he can feel the weakness in his body, he knows that one more attack from the red bear can take his life. Things are not in his favor, and he has to make more effort. But the effort and fighting make him enjoy his meal better. So, he will fight with all his might to achieve victory over the scary beast. Determined to eat it, Gobru runs towards the red bear and attacks it with the spear in his hand. He jumps on the top and pierces the spear in its body. Once again, he strikes the bear's body with an axe, and the bear attacks Gobru. In the next moment, Gobru loses his arm, but he wins over the red bear. It's day 34 and injured Gobru sits tired on the ground. The red bear's body is in front of him, and he begins chewing its flesh. As soon as he eats it, he gains enormous strength and stamina. But Gobru suffered heavy damage. Now, Gobru's strength and level have surpassed, and he is again given a choice. He has fulfilled all the requirements needed to become Lord Slayer. Now, he has gained more power and a supremacy path. He can level up himself to the ogre rare species. With the high level of damage, Gobru feels that he is not in his senses. He is fast losing his consciousness. But before that, the system asks him if he wants to promote himself to the ogre rare species. In order to evolve, he has to choose yes, just like the way he did last time when he was promoted from an ordinary goblin to this appearance. He finally chooses yes. Gobru stays in the forest for the day 35th too. He eats the flesh of a red bear and gains the ability to howl of the mountain, a threatening ability, and the ability to tolerate everything. The dead bear lies in front of him, and he grabs his knife to peel its skin. But as he takes out his knife, he feels a significant decrease in its size. Not knowing what he has changed into, Gobru has started looking into a giant-sized muscular ogre. He lost their arm and has a red pattern on his body. The goblins look at him and fail to recognize him as one of them and their leader. As soon as he stands in front of them, they start running, thinking that ogres have attacked them. Gobru keeps silent and enjoys their reactions. Goblins get more frightened when they see that the giant ogre is smiling. He tries to utter the words, but before he can tell that, he has returned to his own home. Gobmi attacks him by kicking his body, but his muscular body is so invincible that she falls as if struck with a rock. She moans with pain, lying on the ground. Meanwhile, Gobru finally tells him that it's him. They get so angry for disappearing for so long, while Gobji feels so excited to see his transformation and evolution into a much more powerful species. It's almost unbelievable for the villagers. They suspect he must have eaten the red bear to earn this level. The elder goblin is astonished that he has seen no one evolve so fast. 1 month after his birth, he evolved into an ogre. Defeating the Lord of the North Forest is not easy for anyone. He receives praise from everyone and asks questions about his adventure, while Jimmy scolds him as she always does. Gobru feels so happy that he survived the attack and finally reached back home. Gobru has surprised everyone with his muscular and tall body, which does not look similar to the previous one. Goblins have never seen someone evolve so quickly. It's almost miraculous that a goblin born a month ago is their forest leader, and a few moments ago, he also raised his status to that of an ogre. Gobru enjoys the mix of expressions of fascination and admiration on their faces. He wants to know how human prisoners would behave, looking at his transformation. Without him wishing to accompany him to the prisoners, Gobni follows his steps. Gobru feels like he is a duck whose family follows him everywhere he goes. As expected, the human prisoner girls almost screamed while watching a huge ogre in front of them. It took them a while before they realized the person in front of them was their savior, Gobru. His previous clothes were hanging as rags on his body, making him look even stranger. Gobni keeps hanging from his body by pinching him, but Gobru does not mind at all. The crafty girl sadly looks at the dented axe in Gobru's hand. It's definitely helped Gobru in his fights, but it can no longer be used as a prime weapon in upcoming fights. Hence, she offers to make a knife from the spirit stone soon. Gobru pats her head at her generous offer, which makes her smile. The genuine smile on the face of Ticklish fills the room with happiness. But both goblin girls hanging from his legs pinch even harder, revealing their anger and jealousy. Afterwards, he goes to the twin sisters, who are appointed to the task of cooking. They complain about goblins being outnumbered, and they are just 2. In such a situation, they feel that it is necessary to get some help. As a forest leader, Gobru immediately suggested providing help from the logistic goblin staff. Twin sisters accept the offer, but the sight is so strange for Gobru. Initially, they appeared to be eternal enemies, but human girls have subsided their fears against goblins for their survival. They are no longer enemies and work together as a team. He genuinely appreciates their intelligence, which enabled them to mingle with their enemies. Gobru jokes about making both girls his wives. The twin girls blush at the offer and give a shy smile. Gobru appreciates their cuteness, and both goblin girls' faces swell with anger. She bangs the stick into his head. Now Gobru finally visits the alchemist girl with a green chemical in his hand. The chemical, as Gobru guesses, looks like a poison. Alchemist confirms that she formulated the poison to kill the only one dangerous goblin who was their enemy. But now they don't feel the same fear about him or anyone else, so this composition is useless for now. Given Gobru's enormous power, she cannot think of something that would further strengthen his body. Gobru lifts her up in his arms and assures her that his power is just sufficient for him. The alchemist girl gives a mesmerizing smile. Like before, when he appreciates her, both goblin girls hanging with him burn in extreme rage. He spent time with them to make them happy. The whole time, he lifts them in his arms, which lifts their mood. But in the end, he gets so tired. It was day 36, and Gobru could not continue his usual training with goblins, because previously, they equaled his power and strength. But now, his lightest punch puts an ordinary goblin in a critical condition. He already injured a goblin critically and damaged Gubkichi's weapons to a certain degree. After a friendly truce with Gobru, Gubkichi sits on the ground and corrects his breathing, while Gobru uses higher degree magic to heal injured goblins. Afterwards, he turns towards panting Gubkichi and wants to know his situation, but he refused to say anything and quickly left for hunting. Gobru senses a certain change in his behavior. Later, he makes sure the goblins and prisoners are collaborating. Gobni and Hubsato go hunting, while Gob is busy searching for spirit stones to make legendary weapons. But he stitches his clothes while sitting with Hobse in the cave. He just hopes that Gubkichi returns safely from hunting. Hobse listens to him for a while and then immerses herself in reading a book. Gobru wants her to listen to him attentively, but she continues reading, which annoys Gobru. The elder goblin smiles at hearing their small arguments and is pleased to know they are having a good time. After many days of that day, Gobru felt at home. On day 37, after the first round of training, they stop to take a break when Gob approaches him running. She has an injured carbuncle in her hand, which she found digging in a cave. Seeing the enormous blood loss, Gobru suggests taking her to the alchemist, so she would administer the medicine to replenish her strength. After receiving the treatment, the carbuncle Latana wakes up. They introduce themselves and briefly describe how they helped save her life. She feels indebted to them for saving her life and shares her tragedy that humans attacked her. Gobru notices her exquisite gem attached to her forehead, which could be the reason that humans assaulted her. The stone is worth 1 billion gold pieces. Suddenly, Latana pleads with them to kill the brutal human adventurers that attacked her. She continues with teary eyes, explaining that a legendary magician named Valvet made the carbuncles. He had a habit of storing valuable gems using carbuncles. Now, when the attackers attacked, Caruncle attempted to save her life by shedding the core, which reduced her life. They are protecting the treasure collected by their master, Valvet. It contains all kinds of valuable stones and gold, which drew humans to steal it. But Master Valvet hated humans so much. Hence, he would be glad if you killed the adventurers, and he would give all the treasure to Gobru. Gobru calls all the goblins and decides to walk towards the treasure room. Hence, he asks the craftsman girl to give him the knife made of spirit stone. That would come in handy if he had a weapon to increase his strength. Then he shares his plan with warrior goblins, saying that they would initially only warn the adventurers. They would only use force if humans did not come up with an agreement to leave the treasure room. Hence, Gob took all of them when she found a carbuncle in a hole. Under that hole, there was a huge treasure room that belonged to Valvet. Gobru turns towards adventurers to bring to their attention that this den belongs to someone else. Hence, they are committing the crime of theft. As expected, his moral lesson did not work on them, and they attacked him from each direction. Now, he notices the gemstones on humans' bodies and knows their greed has made them blind. Adventurers have repeated patterns of attack, which demonstrate their predictable attack pattern. But they get so terrified when one of the adventurers blows Gobru's head using third-degree magic. But it does not affect him. Knowing that they won't listen to him, he calls the other goblins too and assassinates all the adventurers. Later, they strip them and eat their flesh, which adds Crusader, Guardian, and High Wizard skills to his record. He eats the valuable equipment because he does not know what he can do with it. Later, he moves towards the hidden treasure room filled with expensive items. Valvet's skeleton sits at the front of the room, while Carbuncle shows her gratitude for helping her. She is sure her master's soul is at peace now. Latana assures them that they will find abundant gen spirit stones here, and then sits on Gobru's hand. After wishing Gobru a healthy life, she vanishes. Her forehead stone falls into his hand. After saying a silent prayer for Latana, they collect all the treasure in a big magic box. Before leaving the room, Gobru could not leave Valvet's corpse there and cremate it, which leaves a metal hand at that place. As soon as Gobru wears the hand on his severed arm, it intermingles with his flesh like his own arm. It's free to rotate and adds many skills to Gobru's record. He demolishes the room to close the hole. That night, they enjoyed their achievements with food and drinks. On day 38, he spends most of the time with the blacksmith. On day 39, he divided the valuable armor among hobgoblins and kept the vermicillin spear and a few others for himself. Now his inventory has 3 legendary class items that are so expensive that one can run an entire country with them. He is content that, with training and armor, every goblin's level is increasing. They enjoy the scrumptious bear soup, and on day 40, satisfied with the training, he decides to form a mercenary group. It's day 41, and Gobru wants to see the monsters he has never seen before. The first monster he comes across is a gold spider who sheds expensive items. He eats the delicious gold spider's shell and adds numerous skills. His fingers can weave items like spider webs now. Next up, he comes across a red deer with a rose horn. Finally, Gobru decides to take a stroll to the deepest part of the forest. He discovers a large, shaded tree standing tall in the sunlight. Not only that, in the middle of the forest, he comes across a dryad, famous for their beauty. They appear as females and try to entice the male from the superior species. After attracting them, dryads eat them, and to do the job, their bodies are made very attractive. No one who ever sees them can resist their charm. He remembers once an elder goblin wished to see dryads before death. Gobru has that species right in front of him, praising him for having a tall, muscular body. Its charm is really unrealistic. Gobru gets so nervous when dryads approaches nearer and pushes herself towards him. The drops of sweat fall down his forehead, and it's becoming harder to resist this charming species. His racing thoughts remind him that he has experienced intimacy in his previous life, but the body denies its previous life, as the new body is unfamiliar with this charm. Terrified of becoming the nutrition of dryads, he thinks of a way to survive. For the first time in his life as a goblin, G uses his power of libido. Dryads becomes very happy with him and grants him their blessing. Moreover, she insists that he return sometime soon. He admits that he enjoyed it and then cleans his body of the sweat by taking a bath in the nearby lake. Then he encounters a lizardman and a running bull. He finishes them quickly and acquires a few skills. On day 42, Gobru appoints Gobse, the teacher of 2 goblins interested in learning magic. Later, he senses that the blacksmith girl is annoyed with him. On the 43rd day, it seems everyone is angry with him, especially the girls. They seem to run away from him. At last, he comes to the alchemy girl, who shares the reason for their anger. He did not know, but after meeting dryads, he has a kissing mark on his neck, which is visible to everyone, and the girls here are jealous that he chose someone out of here. Gobru feels so embarrassed to know, but he can't do anything now that everyone knows it. Suddenly, he thinks of running away from the place, but the alchemy girl whispers in his ear. She shares her heartfelt emotions for him secretly and requests that he accept them. At the same time, the other girls see them closer and burn in jealousy. It appears that all the girls want him, and he was unaware of it. He spends time with all the girls and adds many skills. Gubkichi waits outside and does not allow anyone to disturb him. On the 44th day, he has woken and knows he has boosted up. Gobru, who has spent quality time with Red Hair Girl and Gobni. By using his ability, he has realized some threatening strangers are moving ahead to their cave. When Gobru gets outside to meet with them, they talk frequently with him because they consider him a weakling. Gobru doesn't bother them and asks their purpose for coming here. In arrogance, these elves who consider them superior reveal that they are only here for their assistance. Actually, humans want their own treasure, and they are only here to ask for their help. In exchange, they offer them a meal every month. Gobru considers it as if they are giving food to the dog, and he gets agitated by hearing this. If they are here to get it, then they should politely ask, but they prove arrogant. In wrath, the elf tries to unleash his sword, but he has no idea it's going to be their biggest mistake. At this time, Gobru shows them a trailer for his dazzling power. By watching this, they are scared enough to death and do not have enough power to escape. Other elves who are hiding aim Gobru with an arrow, but Gobru, who is already prepared, catches the arrow with his teeth and shows them who is boss. Elves' boss, who is terrified, asks his followers not to assault further, because messing with Gobru is the equivalent of calling their own death. Suddenly, he takes out a legendary spear that can penetrate every elf. This is the specialty of a spear that can eliminate its prey who dares to mess with it. Watching the anger of Gobru, they prefer to escape from here as soon as possible. Old Goblin thinks Gobru shouldn't show them his evil side, but Gobru knows it's necessary because it will keep the elves away from them. On the 45th day, Gobru has made prey gray slime and burn in tie ashes. By doing so, he has obtained the core that he has consumed. As he consumes, he has acquired slime power, through which, when he sheds the blood, slime appears. Through this slime, he can watch and ask this slime to act upon his order. By using it, he has compelled them to make Gobmi and other clothes. By having the new clothes, they are pleased. Also, he can use this to identify the enemy and keep an eye on the intruders. As a result, Slime Blood has noticed elves coming his way. Gobru has never imagined that they will come again so early, but he has already prepared. When they dare to come outside of his cave and do something, then Gobru creates a strong storm. Because of this storm, elves are unable to move for a second and have to surrender before Gobru. This time, Gobru is pissed off and wants to teach them a lesson. So, he has bound them with a spider web. They are covered with the web and unable to move. When Gobru inquires about the reason to come here, they reveal it's all because of their leader. Actually, Gobru has hurt the pride of their late, who want revenge from him. Even they gainsay to accompany him, but he is persistent, so they have to help him. Right now, Gobru is in pissed mood and doesn't want to go them easily, so he gives them offer. If they want to go alive then, they have to made mock battle with them. If they get victory then they can live, otherwise his tongue is dying to have elves taste. Unfortunately, they haven't any option except to listen him. Almost 23 elves has fought in which 5 has lost. Lucky for girls, because all are boys and Gobru is enjoying their mouth-watering blood. In reality, he has given the girls safe side because he can't let them die in front of his eyes. Just then, Gobru reveals that he has spared their lives, but they have to live their life by becoming prisoners. Just then, Old Goblin appears who demands to have quality time with girls. Listening this, girls hold their breath, but they are safe because Gobru is with them. He threatened old Goblin not to cast evil eye on girls, as Gobru is leader so he has to obey him, but still he wants girls. Gobru ignores him. Maybe he has gone mad because of his old age. He moves his attention to Elf, whom he wants to kill, and Elf is requesting not to disfigure his face. On the other hand, Gobkichi is combating with the other monster has reached on the level of 100. As he has reached on the 100 level, he has evolved again. It means he can compete with Gobru. That is his major task. On the day of 49, Gobkichi returned and most of the goblins has recognized him with a doubt. But Gobru has identified he is Gobkichi and he welcomed him with open arms. He has rank up through the blessing of Fire God and Demigod of War. As Gobkichi has considers himself stronger than Gobru, then he has challenged Gobru to make mock battle with him. He knows, as Gobru has turned into ogre, he hasn't gotten his match to fight with, so he considers himself his rival. With a smile, Gobru has accepted his challenge. In the fight, Gobru proves victors because has knocked Gobkichi down. Gobkichi proves tough competitor but not enough to beat him. By mustering up his courage, he moves ahead. After that, in his dream, he looks at someone who has given him special ability as gift. He has no idea who he was. When he wakes up, he tries to think what has happened. On the 51 day, Crafty Girl takes Gobru to the alchemist girl who reveals about her students. One of them is competent enough to heal the wounded people. He considers Gobru as his brother and brother word is tickle in Gobru's heart. Later, he converts his attention to Hobse whose clothes has changes and there is mark on her body. Even she is unable to identify these marks. Also, Gobru is shocked because same marks are present in his body. By keeping everything aside, Hobse wants to show his power, and Gobru can't refuse any girl to showcase her power. When they get outside then, she creates fireballs and throws into the forest. This is mind-blowing attack because surrounds are burning with fire. It takes little power because she can use this attack 20 times without getting tired. She wants to show more, but Gobru refused because it can be risky. Watching her skills, Gobru realized her next evolve will lead her to Spell God. She has wore red outfit and Sato is pleased about her because she has surpassed her. But Hobse ensure her that she can also evolve soon. Gobru ponders that this village is ranking up and getting stronger, and this credit goes to him because they doesn't know how to parry. But he has given them knowledge and helped them to boost their power. On the 52 days, when they have catch their meal to have a feast, then they encounter with other goblins. They are not smart because they have to struggle hard to catch the prey. Even they want to die because they don't want to lead helpless life in front of youngers. Gobru feels pity for them and decides to help them. He takes his blood and create a slime to help them out. Only the favor he can done for them that he made. On the 53rd day, he has found a human that's bitten by the orc and his condition is miserable. To save the human, he has killed the orc and he can sense something extraordinary in this human. By eliminating the orc, he has gained the ability which is Monster Tamer. After that, he moves to Alchemist who has prepared alcohol for him. By drinking this, his heart is dancing with happiness, because he was dying to have this. During having the feast, he has giving permission the goblins who wants to depart from clan, because many of them has already made their choice and he also don't want to compel them to live with him. Also, he has decided to give them departure gift. None of them is ready to leave him because they have everything in his company. A foolish can desire to leave him, as no one wants to leave, so they decide to have a party. Few days has passed without any problem and he tries to make ear cuffs with his blood. Luckily, he has succeeded. Bixugami can hear his voice from distance. He has made many of them for everyone so he is not worried. Aside from this, Jibe is also getting stronger because she has killed Trihorn Horse, and Gabakichi is here to appreciate her, as she has made conquer the Trihorn without damaging it. Then Gobru decide to gift this to her. He used Monster Tamer magic on the horse and gift to her. Not only this, he has tamed Grey Bear and Black Wolf. Through Grey Bear, he is praying and he has tamed Black Wolf so that he can protect his girls. Girls also pleased in the animal's company who has become their friend. On the 59th day, something has surprised Gobru because Red Hair Girl proves a tough target. She is fighting with the kobolds. With her warrior powers, she has knocked down them. While enjoying the food, something happens to Red Hair. It looked like she is trans and has gotten a new job. By following her instinct, she chases the reindeer. With her few moves, she has killed her first prey. By killing the animal, she is glad because she has become animal hunter. Also, Gobru has realized she can die if she can't monster regularly. To protect her, he need to keep an eye on her. A part of this, one of his mate informs him that human has killed the goblin and they have escaped. Gobru already knows about it because war is few steps away from them. On the 60th day, he has awoken with a jerk, because he can see in his vision that kobolds are running from someone. and he can imagine how powerful their enemy can be. As far as he can imagine, there can be hidden force behind it. In no time, he has awakened others and orders them not to attack on the kobolds. Instead, they need to make target who is coming behind them. Just then, kobolds has hidden behind them, and when they look ahead then, they are shunned because they need to fight with the skeletons. They throws arrow at them, but it proves futile effort because they are stronger than weapons. Goblin and other warriors has started fighting with swinging their swords, but swords are nothing before them. Just then, they have realized they can be burst out when they use their force on them. So, Goblin asks them to leave the weapon and they need to kick and punch on the skeleton. By using the same technique, they have wiped them out. Even Goblin has entered in battle. With few moves, he has cleared his surrounded. Also, their master is also proved piece of cake for him. He has knocked the master down and eat his skull who is moving. By consuming this, he has obtained the skills. Also, he has figured out when kobolds working in the velvet room, then has set the skeleton free. They can't face then and flee and take refuge here. After some time, kobolds has kneeled down in front of the Goblin because they wants to accommodate him. Goblin is wondered because he has killed their mates, but they knows weakling always needs stronger one to survive, and they need their help. Goblin is shocked because everyone wants to join him and their clan is becoming bigger. Goblin asks them to take rest. After that, they can discuss about this matter. Next day, Goblin is moving ahead to get their prey. After so many days, they have decided to fight together. On their way, they look suspicious because they look at 12 humans who are up to something. Because of his curiosity, he has decided to quit hunting and move ahead to figure out what humans want to do. While stalking, they realized humans had hidden. Goblin has no choice except to eavesdrop. By doing so, he has realized they want to kidnap the king's daughter, and this elf is returning from the Owl Festival. Goblin wants to watch the entire show, so he is chasing them. At night, when the gorgeous elf is returning home with her guards, humans who were hidden have started throwing arrows at the guards. Still, Goblin is doing nothing because he is mesmerized by the beauty of elf. He is aware that elves have extraordinary temptations, but in this elf there is something special. When all the guards have died and the elf has lost her senses, Goblin decides to show his hero moves. Through the spider webs, he has eliminated all the humans, and they have started screaming with pain. But Goblin is not the person who shows mercy to them. After some time, the goddess-like beauty, Elf, is in the strong arms of Goblin, and he is waiting for her with open eyes. Also, he is worried about Goblin, who has carried the humans. Although these humans are heavy, he can't show his weakness in front of Goblin. Goblin respects the dead elves who have sacrificed their lives to save the princess, so he prefers not to taste them and spares them here. On the 62nd day, Goblin has captured the human who is alive. But it's his misfortune because he is going to die at the hands of Goblin. Before dying, he reveals humans' evil motives, in which they want to attack humans within 20 days. Saying this, he has started begging for his life, but he has no idea that in front of him is a monster who will not leave him until he tastes his flesh and blood. By consuming him, he has obtained many qualities. Later, he moves on to an elf who is still unconscious. Just then, she opens her eyes and starts to panic because she is worried about her guards. Also, this place is also strange to her. As she is startled, she makes Goblin watch her beautiful wings. Watching this, Goblin has also shunned it because he has never watched an elf's wing. Now, he has realized why she is special. On the other hand, the princess is considering Goblin, who has killed her guards. Now, he wants to ruin her chastity. Hearing this, Gobru's eyes have widened because he has realized there is no brain in her head. To calm her, Gobru has revealed everything to her. Also, he doesn't bother to expose that he hasn't dared to protect the soldiers. Listening to this, she burst out of anger and started punching him with her delicate hands. Gobru is irritated and pushes her away. Also, Elf has realized she is messing with the wrong person. When she has calmed down, he discloses that there is no good relationship between elves and monsters, so he has little intention of saving them. Now, she acted upon girl's habits and started shedding tears. Watching her tears, he has decided to escort her home, and something else is popping in Gobru's brain. At night, Old Goblin also gets to know that Gobru has captured an elf. So, Old Goblin's monster has awakened, and he wants to spend quality time with her. Gobru, who can't go against his rules, asks him not to touch her with his entire hand. Otherwise, he has to face the music. Old Goblin is not daring enough to go against Gobru's order. On 63 days, Gobru and Gubkichi are left to escort Elf. Elf has now trusted Gobru that he will not harm him. On the way, Gobru is curious about her wings. Actually, these wings are given to the High Elves, and she has them because she is Nobel. They keep these wings secret because the enemy can take advantage of them. She is on green level, so she couldn't hide her wings from Gobru. By reaching their village, Gobru used his searching power and realized that 25 guards were there. All of them have pointed their arrows at Gobru. Gobru knows that these arrows are made of mithril, and it can injure them. Before Gobru shows them who the real boss is, Elf provides a shield to Gobru and asks them not to harm them. Because it's the order of their princess, they have quit the plan to attack them. According to the princess, they have saved them, so they can't harm them. They are taken to the king, who is glad to keep his daughter safe and sound. Princess also apologizes for making him worried and introduces them as her saviors. Aside from this, Gobru disclosed his real purpose, to save the elf. He has saved her to get the reward, and the king is ready to give him it because he has given another life to his precious daughter. Gobru is well aware that the king will give him the reward according to her daughter's life. As he had expected, the king asked his maid to bring Failbot. He has given Gobru the heirloom, which is a magic item. Watching this, everyone is shunned because it's very precious and belongs to their village. Gobru is pleased about their gift, but he also has valuable information about humans. When King heard about it, he was impressed and decided to make a contract between them. In exchange, the king has given them magical items and spirit stones and knives. When they are about to leave, the king inquires about his troop that is missing. Now, Gobru can't tell them they are already digesting his greedy tongue. As the mutual relationship recently set up, he refrained from knowing about them and become the most innocent soul in the world. When they leave, Gobru is given medicine and alcohol made by the villagers. Grabbing them, Gobru's heart is bouncing with happiness. By taking the sip from his group, he has decided not to break the relationship with the elves. This thing has startled Gobni, who looks at him with open eyes. At 64 days old, Gobru has awakened and is telling Gobni to open her eyes. But when he looks at her, his eyes widen because she has transformed into a Dampier variant. She is looking tempting beyond his imagination, and he is unable to turn his eyes for a second. It's not just Gobni who has evolved, rather, 8 others have transformed. When she has dressed according to her figure, someone instructs her not to remove her glasses. She is allowed to take off when she faces her enemy. Watching her, Gobru has to stop his breath for a second. With the blessing of the god of ice, she can generate plenty of ice. Not only this, but with her captivating eyes, she can compel their enemies to fight with each other. It's a great award bestowed by God. But something is odd because she looks familiar to someone. The problem is that he is unable to remember the person. Soon, his attention is diverted to Gob, who is devoted to the Half-Earth Lord. She now has massive powers in her hands and can figure out more tools inside the earth. Aside from this, Hubsato also turned into a half-blood lord. Through her blood power, she can compel anyone to kneel down. One thing that is tormenting him is that they have the same tattoos on their bodies as he does. Their shape is different, and he needs to figure out this mystery. At this time, Old Goblin has decided to give them new names because they are evolved. Hubsato, who has blood power, is called Bloodsato, and Hobse will turn into Spellse. Also, the Gobmi name has changed to Dami. Gob has earth-related power, so she is earth, and Gobkichi will be Ogre Kichi, and our hero will be called Ogru. Everyone is pleased by their name, but Gobru is not interested because he has many mysteries to solve. Gobru knows that if a war happens between elves and humans, then the king has to take help from them. In this condition, he needs to prepare and create an army to knock them down. To communicate with them, he has given them earcuffs. Kobolds have taken without creating any scene, but elves are creating chaos. So, he has ruined their pride so that they don't create problems. To make them more potent, Gobru asked them to make a mock battle. For this, he has called the Black Skeleton plant through his power. They are fighting with the Black Skeletons, which is challenging for them. In 65 days, with his power, Gobru can call zombies, undead, and other powerful monsters. He wants to taste them, but he can't without any substance. But he is pleased because they are helpful for his comrades to get experience. Also, they have one weakness. In broad daylight, they burn into ashes. It means this trick doesn't work in daylight. By keeping everything aside, he is glad with kobolds and elves, who are showing interest and improving. There are 136 inhabitants under him, but he is aware that kobolds are weakest. On the other hand, girls want to taste the undead. Gobru is worried because it can be poisonous. Still, she is dying to taste this undead. In 66 days, they move to Goblin's place to live. Earth has made a place for their living, and kobolds are busy hunting because they want to taste something new. With their hunting skills, they have made 20 black wolves their prey. By checking them out, they are leaving when they notice a stamp board. Here, Earth wants to show her power. She has punched the boar, and his blood has spilled on all of them. Now that she has realized this, she shouldn't give him a hard punch. Reaching the ironsmith, he is surprised because she has changed the weapon and given it a new shape. On the 67th day, Ogre reveals his feelings for Earth. Goblin already knows about it because he has read his facial expressions. Actually, he can't control his feelings because she has become more pretty after a transformation. Ogre tells him to disclose the feeling. By acting upon Ogre's advice, he has confessed his feelings. Earth, who has been waiting for so long, has given a positive response. On the 68th day, Ogre has realized that Ogre has become more potent by confessing his feelings to Edith. Aside from this, Earth is also feeling powerful and has found the stone. Also, they have moved for more hunting and have gained a lot of power. Ogre has obtained exoskeleton power, through which he can create a shell around him that is unbeatable. Also, his power has given him wings, but he has no command and has fallen to the ground. The next day, it's raining, so he practiced with red hair, which is becoming stronger. After this, he moves to a blacksmith who has created other things with her comrades. He has given her more tools to work on them. Her next step is the cooking corner. With their help, he has made mouth-watering new dishes. Her last step is to become an alchemist, who has prepared another weapon that can heal any injury. Also, she makes love with him, and other girls become angry by seeing it. The worst thing is that he has no words to explain. On day 71, elves have started assaulting the elves' location. To wipe them out, they demand Ogre's help according to the demand. And if he dares to violate the agreement, then none can save him from the wrath of elves. With a mesmerizing smile, Ogre has accepted the offer. He hasn't accepted because he is scared of them. Instead, he can't leave the mouth-watering alcohol made by the elves' village to act upon it. Early in the morning, Ogre has moved with his army. In his army, there are animals whom they are riding. In his army, magicians and other warriors are with him. Soon, they figured out the humans' military location. The problem is that their place is surrounded by barriers. If any monster dares to get inside, then he can be abolished. So, Ogre takes out his weapon and breaks the barrier in a blink of an eye. Later, Earth emerges walls around them so they couldn't escape. Spellsay and Bloodsato uses their overwhelming power to perish them. Ogre can't be stepped back, who creates an army of skeletons and throwing laser at them. By watching this, humans should step back, but they are fighting with all their might. Just then, Ogre is shocked by watching a girl who is commanding the troops. This hot commander orders everyone to make Ogre pray, and she herself rushes to Ogre and her aim is Ogre's heart. Watching her attacking technique, Ogre is impressed, but her skills is nothing before Ogre, who hasn't give her chance to harm him. She is pushed back by Ogre. By impressed by her beauty, Ogre gives her chance to escape, but she is overconfident about her power. Ogre orders his team not to harm Mage, Priestess and Knight, and the remaining ones they can enjoy. By implementing the order, they are eliminating them. Most inspiring power belongs to Dami. With her ability, she has made humans fight with each other. Bloodsato also uses her blood power to obliterate them. By banging her weapon on the ground, Earth has proved she is no less than them. As Ogre's team has done fantastic job, so they have defeated them without any loss. Although they have won, there is a fight is going on between Ogre and Knight. Ogre is harmed by the attack of Knightess. Her sword has remarkable power, who has given him a tough time. Because Blue Dragon emerges and Knight is supported by a mage, it's too complicated for him to withhold. So, he has decided to give up. In this condition, Knight has to face death. But Ogre, who has already impresses with Knight, can't let her die. So, he pushed her behind him and faced the dragon. With his immersed power, he has compelled the dragon to move away. Even everyone is shocked to see his power because it's not an ordinary power. Knight is watching his capabilities. Soon, they are prisoners and Ogre proclaims to return from here. When they reach the elves' village, then the elves' king warmly welcomed them. King has prepared a wholehearted meal for them. Excited thing for Ogre is alcohol that he can't fed up. King is thankful to Ogre, who had saved their village by halting the steps of humans. After this, Ogre moves to keep an eye on human girls. By watching them, he has realized humans are so much weaker than elves. At night, Ogre has decided to snatch their purity. He has put his evil hands on Knight and ignored her objection. Another girl is watching this with an open mouth. When girls are fine, then they find ear cuffs around their ears. These are put on because they can't hide or lie about anything from them. Also, he is doing all these things only for the elderly. Actually, he has amazing skills to negotiate. He knows where Ogre can listen to him. He has increased the alcohol quantity for them, and Ogre is ready to provide the information about humans to him. Without any delay, he has given them information. On the other hand, King is informed that humans are going to assault them. Hearing this, King and Princess are worried. because they have planned to ambush King's community. For this purpose, they have planned to attack on the three sides of the elves. According to the strategy, it's not a good choice because they are going to attack on the three sides, but they haven't any other choice. King is also impressed by Ogre, who knows about humans, but one thing is tormenting the princess, that is the meaning of Yahalo. Aside from this, Ogre and his team is prepared to take down humans, as they are aware of their plan, so Ogre has made his man to hide. And Ogre has realized they are prepared now because there are 500 people. Also, they are well equipped. Firstly, goblins have blocked their way by cutting the trees. Later, they started throwing giant stones at them. As a result, many of them have gotten injured. Ogre's team also attacks them with arrows, and they are dying because they haven't prepared for this sudden attack. Now, Ogre is a little bit relaxed because many of them have died, and only 100 have left to respond to them. But the difficulty emerges when their commander has given everyone orders to create the shield. By taking the help from the stones, they have made a strong circle of defense around them. At this time, when they throw stones or other things, then it's useless. Watching their commander's skills, Ogre is impressed and has also realized he needs to act upon another plan, because this plan is not going to work. To act upon the second strategy, Ogrekichi has to step forward to kill them. He is rushing over them with other goblins, and mages are stopping them by attacking through magic. With his immense power, he has made everything futile and jumps to the warriors. Ogre is hopeful about Ogrekichi and knows he can handle the situation. One by one, he is eliminating the enemies and ensuring they are dead. Just then, Ogrekichi has to fight with a wolf warrior who proves fragile in front of Ogrekichi. Still, he is smiling and not giving him a clue that he is weak. Ogre is also inspired by him. The clanging of weapons can be heard. Soon, Ogrekichi knocked him down and this soldier was on his shoulder, and he gives good news to Ogre that he has been overpowered by the situation. Ogre is proud of his mate. They decided not to kill the wolf warrior who had lost his consciousness. While they are talking, Dami diverts his attention to her. With her blushing face, she reveals that she wants to bear her child. Ogre has taken her away to have quality time. Also, he likes women who bluntly say what they want. After some time, humans have biome prisoners and most of them are complaining because it's humiliating. On the other hand, wolf warriors are satisfied because there's food and bed for them. His mates tease him for living in the shabby place, so he should have no objection. By ignoring them, the wolf warrior is thinking about other things. After some moment, he is in front of Ogre. Actually, he is curious and wants to know why they are attacking elves again and again. This mystery is also resolved. Actually, once a princess from human land became seriously ill. Rather, everyone says she is going to die. So, the king has ordered a remedy. In short, it said, the elves' place is blessed with demi-goddess medicines. They want these medicines and their greed is provoking them to have it. Ogre realized how complicated humans are, but he can understand their feelings because once he was human. Hearing this wolf warrior is shocking. Aside from this, Earth is working on the ground when she finds something mysterious. She screams and everyone gathers around her. They thought intruders has arrived and an Earth is in danger. Also, Ogre has arrived here and shunned to look at the hot water. After gathering everyone, he asks them to relax their muscles, because they have gone through hard times and now they need to enjoy the hot spring. Goblins who haven't heard about hot springs are shocked. To take them out from the confusion, he has disclosed that it's the place where they can bath. Without wasting a single minute, they dived into the hot spring. All are feeling relaxed and girls are rubbing the skins of each other. But it's bad for her head because there is no one who could clean her up. Also, Ogre wants to personally thank Earth for giving him such an amazing gift. Apart from this, something weird pops up in the mind of Ogre. He has decided to train the prisoners. Through this, he can judge their skills. Also, he makes them combat with goblins. These goblins are led by Dami and Spelsy, and they are doing a great job. Soon, Orjakichi and Blood were eliminated from the round because they are not vigilant. To fight on the ground, they need to be more careful. Wolf Warrior, who is fighting with the bones, has fed up. He has dared to challenge Ogre. Ogre is also bewildered because his companion is tired enough to death, and he has ventured enough to challenge the leader. Ogre has decided to fight back with him. Before this, he doesn't forget to give him a magical shield. Through this, he will remain in one piece. Otherwise, there is no chance of his survival. In no time, the fight starts and he has given him a hard punch that bounces his body. Ogre knows, if he fights with Ogre then he can turn his body into Pisces. Ignoring this, he turns his attention to the fight. In a few moves, he knocked him to the ground. Just then, Ogrekichi also shared his wish to fight with wolf warriors. This time, the wolf warrior is giving Ogrekichi a tough time, and other warriors have also understood this man is not ordinary. and keeping him in jail is like throwing his skills in the trash. Ogre asks him to join in their meal. While eating, he reveals he came to the human world with demi-humans, but elite people always consider him trash because he is not like them. However, he is shocked to look at the people here who are living with humans. Even he has never seen this scene before, so he has decided to leave the post of Imperial Knight and wants to join him. Ogre, who has a soft corner for him, can't refuse him. He has removed the prisoner band from his neck. Now, he is free and Ogre has given him task to teach Red Hair. It's his duty to teach her all the human attacks. On the other hand, Red Hair is watching them with confusion. Later, Ogre takes few people to King. He considers them hindrances because these people can't be trained, and they haven't talent. Hearing this, King has decided to keep them under their supervision. Just then, Ogre inquires about the medicine that human ones desperately want. Actually, this medicine King has given to Ogre. When he has saved his daughter, then he considers it's the best reward for him. But he can't explain further and Ogre also doesn't bother to inquire. But he gulps the medicine and has gotten changes in his body. By cutting his finger, he has made the injured human to have his blood. By tasting his blood, his pain and wounds has gone. It's not less than a miracle and he can heal his mates with it. Like this video and subscribe to Annie Summary for more anime recap.